This is being held in person, but is also available for viewing via GoToMeeting. Members of the public who are watching this live with any interest in providing testimony, please hustle down to Town Hall immediately. This is going to be a brief meeting. We'd like to start with the recording notice. Anybody who intends to record the meeting must first notify the chair, will then inform other attendees. Nobody's doing that? Okay. So I invite you to join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We don't have any public hearings scheduled for this evening. Case PB 2024-20 has been continued. We have an A&R in the public meeting section, and then we're going to have only voting on minutes. So it's 2 items on the agenda this evening. Mary?
Do we need to, just a question, do we need to open the public hearing and continue it to a date certain?
Okay.
So you need to read the,
yeah,
you need to read the.
All right, fair enough.
Actually, the chair can do it administratively as well, so that's another option. But if we're here and you're so inclined, you can continue it to September 10th.
So, September 10th, okay. So let's take care of that, and then in that case, case PB 2024-20, John F. Connell Jr., manager of 73 Main Street LLC, through his agent J. Thaddeus Eldridge, PLS of East Southeast LLC, is requesting a site plan review and special permit to add a second multifamily dwelling to the property along with utility upgrades and exterior accommodations. This application is pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Sections 9 and 11, and the Harwich Zoning Bylaw, Sections 325-55 and 325-51Q. Property is located at 73 Route 28, Map 10, Parcel W1 in the West Harwich Special District, WHSD, and the Commercial Highway 1, CH1, and Residential High Density, RH1 zoning districts. I'll entertain that motion.
So I move that we continue to the public hearing for case PB 2024-20 to September 10th, no earlier than 6:30 p.m.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. We will visit that at September 10th. Now on to the public meeting section. Case number 2024-22, 19 and 25 Bonnie Lane, approval not required, A&R, owners William G. Litchfield, manager, Spinnaker Lane Nominee Trust, and James S. and Janice M. DeStasio, through their agent William D. Kroll, seek endorsement of a 2-lot, approval not required, plan entitled Plan of Land Situated in Harwich, Mass., prepared by Spinnaker Lane Nominee Trust, William Litchfield trustee, dated August 7th, 2024, prepared by David A. Little, PLS, Ryder and Wilcox, Inc., pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 81P, and Section 400-9 of the Code of the Town of Harwich for property located at 19 and 25 Bonnie Lane, Map 16, Parcels C1-2 and C1-1. Parcels are in the Residential Low Density, RL, zoning district. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening. Attorney William Kroll for representing the petitioner this evening, and I have seated with me Jeff Cronin from Ryder and Wilcox, drafter of the approval not required plan, seeking your endorsement this evening. A little background on as far as the plan is concerned. I don't know how much you want, but just in a nutshell, the DeStasios purchased 3 lots. You see on the plan in front of you, Lot 1, and then 2A and 2B, so that was 2A. And then there's a 3rd lot to the west that says James and Janice DeStasio. So there were 3 lots off of Bonnie Lane, and they bought all 3 of them that are shown on this subdivision plan here. And for zoning purposes, Attorney Litchfield decided to checkerboard them, so to speak. They bought these from my clients, and Attorney Litchfield represented the buyer. And so Lot 2 is owned by William Litchfield trustee, of the Spinnaker Lane Nominee Trust, and then the lots on either side, lots 1 and 3, are owned by James and Janice DeStasio, just in case there were some zoning changes that gave them an argument as to why they'd be grandfathered, so to speak. So Lot 3 is not involved with this plan, but what are we up to? What we've been doing starting before COVID, working with the Conservation Commission, trying to work something out as far as a conservation restriction on the wetland portion of the properties. So Mr. and Mrs. DeStasio obtained a building permit to build the dwelling that you see there. So that's all pursuant to permits. And they have the sand volleyball court, which means a lot to their children and grandchildren. So we've been negotiating with the Conservation Commission for several years. COVID kind of put a hold on things for a while, but we're back to came back to the table a year or so ago with the Conservation Commission. And what we ultimately decided to do is, my clients decided to do, Mr. and Mrs. DeStasio, is, and with Attorney Litchfield's consent, is to subdivide Lot 2 to create Lot 2B so that they could keep the sand volleyball court. And then the plan is to convey Lot 2A and all of Lot 3, that's not shown on this plan, but all of Lot 3 to the Howard Conservation Trust, rather than having a conservation restriction. But we still will have a conservation restriction on Lot 1, where it says in the hashed area, hash mark area, proposed conservation restriction. Easterly and southerly boundaries extend to 1 foot from the existing split rail fence. That's how they can maintain the split rail fence without trespassing onto HCT property. So that hashed area will be subject to a conservation restriction if the Conservation Commission decides, when we come back to them, go back to them with this plan, if they decide, yes, okay, they're good with all of this, and we'll have a conservation restriction on part of Lot 1, and we'll deed 2A and 3 to the Howard's Conservation Trust, and Michael Locke is fully on board with that. And we're going to, my clients will keep Lot 1 and Lot 2B. Or not to be.
That's the question.
Is that the question?
That is the question.
Very good, Mr. Chairman. So that's why we're seeking, we went to the Conservation Commission several months ago and suggested this as a resolution of the situation, and we're hopeful that this would do it. So they said, well, okay, well, what's the next step? And I said, well, the next step is we need to go to the planning board to have this A&R plan approved so that we can be in a position to record deeds and record the conservation restriction. That's why we're here.
Great. One quick question, Lot 3, is that have substantially covered with wetlands as well? Like unbuildably?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
right.
Very good. Other questions, anybody else? Mary?
No.
Seems like a straightforward kind of carve out of this parallelogram, or trapezoid, to accommodate existing ownership issues, so. Any remarks from the town at the,
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. The zoning compliance officer and myself did review the A&R, and we felt that it was an appropriate resolution for the property owners, and they're not creating other buildable lots, and so we recommended that the planning board endorse the A&R as presented.
seems sensible, anything, Alan?
No.
If I may, this is the 3-lot
The full,
subdivision
yeah.
plan, and you can see Lot 3 here. And that was 30 years ago or so. It was mostly wetland, and it may have grown since that time.
Right. Oh, terrific, great.
And it also has, Lot 3 has access issues. You can't really get to Lot 3 when you come down Bonnie Lane and make a left.
Right,
You can't really get to Lot 3 to any kind of buildable portion of it
right.
without a bridge, which the Conservation Commission probably would not
Right.
be in favor of.
Probably not.
Well, very good. If there are no questions, I'd like to entertain a motion.
I move that the planning board endorse the approval not required plan as presented in case 2024-22.
Have a second?
Second.
Any further comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you, and thank you all for coming tonight to having a quorum. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
Very good. The last item of business that we have is discussion of any
Oh, I'm
updates on
sorry.
the comprehensive town planning. Oh,
I'm sorry. What's your procedure with the plan? Are you folks going to,
do we have to
Sign
do
I was going to ask if you could sign before
the,
everyone leaves
we have
tonight.
Mylars? Yeah.
Yes.
okay. We'll leave, but, and then you'll let us know, and,
I'll bring it down to the town clerk tomorrow,
Okay.
and then I'll let you know when it's ready to be
Okay.
picked up.
thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Very good. Do we have any comprehensive town planning updates?
Yes, we
Okay.
have scheduled a meeting for October 22nd for the housing production plan.
Great.
We did last week launch our hazard mitigation plan survey.
Right.
Everyone can
Is everybody-
participate in that and also share it.
Okay, good.
The local comprehensive plan, we are planning to, we're still working on draft goals and objectives, as well as sections of the document, and once they're in draft form, and the committee's ready to put that out to, town committees and town hall staff, we will be, coming to each of the town boards for their feedback. But we want to also make sure that board members have enough time to sit and read the documents, because they're fairly extensive, so, so that should be happening probably towards the end of September at some point, and I'll keep you posted on that. We are also in the process of drafting goals and objectives for the open space and recreation plan, and we are hoping to finalize both the open space and recreation plan and the housing production plan by the end of October of this year.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yep.
So we've
Thank
got,
you.
and I understand we're going to have a bit of a fuller schedule moving into September.
Correct.
Did you want to comment on that?
Yeah.
Just
Yes.
give us a heads up.
So
we-
for September 10th,
Yep.
we have not only the multifamily special permit and site plan review for 73 Route 28. We also have an 8-lot subdivision for, at 1594 and 1598 Orleans Road. That will be on September 10th. We just received a filing for September 24th for Witchmere's site plan review for their internal road layout.
When is, what date is
which
that
is,
one?
I'm sorry,
24th.
24th?
September 24th. And their larger redevelopment project will be filed with the Cape Cod Commission probably at the beginning of the new year for 2025. But they have asked for a site plan review waiver for the internal road
Right.
improvement and roundabout that they are situating internally on their property as part of Snowman Inn,
Right.
Snow Inn Road. Part of it's public, and then what's on their property is the roundabout. And they're making these changes so that the dunes and the condominiums that exist will continue to operate during the reconstruction. So they want to do, so they're proposing to do that first, and they want to start construction on that in order for those buildings to continue to be operational during the reconstruction period of
Is
the
that
larger
roundabout,
development.
wasn't that the one that they were gonna do in front of the new structure or the reconstructed main unit? Was
I
that gonna be in
think
front of
so.
that, or is it gonna be
I
further
thought
out?
so, but I can't remember. I'd have to look.
I can pull out the plans and also
Well,
send
we'll
those.
be
to-
looking at it, I'm sure. We don't have to do it tonight, but I remember that went by
It was a
historic,
I think it was.
like last year or something, and
Yeah.
so.
So they have asked for a site plan review waiver, so that will be up to the board. I am making arrangements for, instead of VHB, who is involved in the redevelopment of Witchmere for the traffic, not the engineering. Ty and Bond is doing the engineering. However, VHB has opted not to weigh in as our consulting engineer for both stormwater and site plan review. So I am contracting with another engineer to do the evaluation for the road layout and improvements. But irregardless, the applicant has asked for a site plan review waiver on that. So hopefully I'll have some engineering reports for your consideration relative to the waiver as well.
Great. The other thing that's kind of interesting is that nothing's happened after all of that, months and months and months and months with Wacquasit.
Nothing?
I wonder whether or not the new management is tossing them aside yet, because there's an expiration date on there.
No, they have 2 years
Right.
to start, but we only finished with Wacquasit.
Was last fall, right?
Yeah,
Been a year, right?
but they could still come back and ask for an extension
Right.
on it,
But it's
so.
just gonna be interesting to see, what goes on.
Going to
I
land
wouldn't-
court? Aren't they going to land?
Oh,
I
don't know
wouldn't
about
read
that.
anything into
I
it
wouldn't
that they
read anything. I'm not reading, I'm
that
just
they haven't
saying.
started construction in a year.
Well, but, yeah,
They have a
I'm just
2 year.
saying, it's like they had a year and a half into it, and then a year out, and there's nothing, so.
Yeah,
it'll be
I
interesting.
still wouldn't read anything into that at all on development.
Speaking of Wacquasit, they have reached out to us. They are doing some internal interior renovations. So I haven't had an opportunity to go through the previous application and the conditions of site plan review from this board as of yet. But it sounded as though the renovations were internal. They weren't doing anything external. But there will be continued work, I think, at Wacquasit, but I just at least wanted to let you know that.
I was thinking
they
the
have-
two kind of linked,
No,
as,
but- Correct me if I'm wrong, we all, there's still a lawsuit ongoing on it, so.
I'm not sure.
I'm not
I'll
sure about
follow
that.
up on that. I thought there
I
may have been
think-
some resolution.
I think we all got served on that,
We did all get served.
so.
you're right,
So you proceed at your own risk if, there's still something outstanding, so. I'm not sure that, I remember getting something in the mail, I don't
Yeah,
remember
I remember.
seeing any updates, because we usually don't see updates,
Right.
but that's why I'm saying I wouldn't read anything into the fact that they haven't started construction,
well,
so.
complicated world, I just was making an observation.
This, what I was referencing was just what is already existing, so I
Right.
don't
Right.
know if that will impact that, but I can also follow up with Town Council Mary just to find out what the status
Status,
is, if any, if there have been any settlements or
They
any
had come to us
resolution.
to demolish 2 buildings and slightly relocate them and make them, like raise the roof on them and raise the height on them to add some units and I think accessible units. And there was a neighbor who
Yes.
fought the special permit request, so amendment, so.
There were a lot of interleaved issues with that, of boundaries being observed and not observed, lines, I mean,
It's
it was complicated. Anyway, we don't need to revisit that now, I think of the 2 kind of properties as being important for our town, and want to
Okay.
make sure we do our due diligence on that. The one thing I forgot to mention before we went into our update was, I'd like to get approval in the minutes if everybody's read them. Okay. If there are any comments or emendations or alterations.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of July 9th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
So Christine, if I understand you correctly, we should get ready for a busier schedule. Is that correct?
Yes.
Busier schedule this fall. That's good.
And so some of the public hearings relative to, when we need engineering consultants, so just, we may need to schedule things in advance. So I do want to just remind board members of the requirements for the 5 members, and however we can schedule out further, just so that, just to keep that in mind, that would be great. I would really appreciate that.
Great.
And so thank you all for all of your help as
Tell you now,
well.
those 2 dates in September are problematic for me.
You have elections.
Both dates in September, unfortunately. So I might be able to be here late on the 10th, but the 24th would be a challenge.
We want to make sure that Harry's here on the 10th.
Right.
All right,
And the
I'll
24th.
also reach out, I'll follow up with everyone individually as well, so.
Is
And I
that-
appreciate everyone's accommodation as well. Thank you.
And we're scheduled through December.
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
No changes to that?
Nope.
Got it, okay.
Is there any other business before the board this evening?
We do, the town did make an award to an RFP for the Marceline
Marceline,
property
right.
at
Oh, right.
456 Queen Anne Road, so
Nice.
that will be moving forward. I believe that will probably be a comprehensive permit, so we may solicit some input from the planning board, just to keep that in mind. And for some possible zoning amendments, we'll be working on updating our zoning maps, so we will also need to schedule set aside some meeting times for public hearings for that as well. So I do want you to be cognizant of that as well.
I hate to ask the question, is there any talk about fall town meeting yet?
There has been. There are, I believe, towards the end of November is the last I've heard. So, and I think that's to settle some of the, some financing and free cash
Okay,
allocations.
Oh, it's Brooks and free cash?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's part of it.
Possibly. I don't know. It's not definite. It hasn't been confirmed yet.
haven't called it yet.
There's,
Yeah.
right, and there's some churn, personnel churn, so I think that's part of the problem, part of the issue, so. Anything else before that? So I think we have a light evening, we should enjoy it as such. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seriously, nobody's going to oppose?
Nobody's gonna vote.
It's unanimous. Adjourned at 6:52. Thank you.